Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to It's Obvious Gaming. My name's Garrett Drake. I'm joined at the table by Jacob Alka and Preston Pugh. Boys, how are you?
Here I am. I'm doing good.
Here I sit before you fine gentlemen after seeing Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Amen, brother. This morning, as of 9:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the United States, Atlanta, Georgia to be specific, we have seen Star Wars The Last Jedi together. It was an early morning, but it was a fun time. Sat in the third row of IMAX. It's a little jarring, having to turn your head to see everything.
Yeah, my neck was a little sore.
Yeah, but we have seen the movie. I've seen it twice now. I saw it last night with my family and Casey, and then we went again with you guys this morning.
Yeah.
Of course, I was naturally very, very excited to see this movie. And we're here to give our spoiler-free thoughts on the film. Now, this is going to be a brief discussion because there's only so much you can talk about in a spoiler-free review. There's so many spoilers to discuss in our spoiler review, which is coming on Tuesday if you're listening on Sunday when this comes out. But if not, just a couple days from now, you'll hear our in-depth spoiler discussions.
And there will also be a link in the description to that video.
There will be when it arrives. Yeah, if you're listening to this days after it actually comes out. So. Yeah. But we're going to just talk in very general about the movie, about what we thought about it. But we're not going to go into any spoilers, so no worries on that front. We'll be very careful with our words. But there are some things we have to say about the spoiler-free section. So boys, tell me, now that you've seen the film, you've had to kind of think about it a bit. What were your general thoughts? Did you like the movie? Did you dislike it? Are you kind of in the middle ground? How do you feel?
Preston, why don't you start?
And I do want to do a little... If you listen to our podcast, you know that I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. I'm a very casual Star Wars fan. I definitely enjoy the movies and games and stuff, but I'm not super into lore and stuff. So from that perspective, I initially left the movie enjoying it a lot. And that was pretty much how I felt. There were a lot of cool things happen in the latter half of the movie, and those things stuck with me a lot. But as we kind of discussed it after and I marinated on it, I started thinking about the first half of the movie, and it was kind of boring, and there are a lot of plot holes that are kind of bugging me a little bit. But like I said, because I'm not super invested or into the lore that much, it doesn't necessarily bug me. So I pretty much... Just thinking back on the movie now, I just think of the really cool things that happen and the story elements and the characters that I actually did like. So I liked it. I thought it was a cool Star Wars movie.
Cool. How'd you feel, Jacob?
I echo a lot of things that Preston says. I left being not sure how I felt about the movie. This was new for me because even the prequels, when I was a little kid, I was always really happy after I saw the movie. I was like, that was really freaking awesome. But this one, I didn't know how I felt. It was kind of a strange feeling because I enjoyed lots of parts of the movie, but I also was confused and disappointed with a lot of things that happened in the movie too. So it was just a strange feeling. And it's not a feeling that I get from a lot of movies because I guess I don't care about a lot of movies like I do the Star Wars franchise. But it's like, you know, like you said, it's hard to really express feelings without spoiling stuff. But you know, characters, there were some characters that were questionable in what they were doing or what their purpose was, I guess. Some of the story moments kind of felt disconnected to me, but overall, you know, like I said, still don't know how I feel about it. I'm seeing it again tomorrow. Actually, when this video goes live, I'll probably be seeing it as people are watching it. But,
right.
I mean, yeah, that's how I feel.
Okay.
That was kind of all over the place for me. But how do you feel, Garrett?
Well, so if you guys have been with us for a while, you probably heard me talk about Star Wars a handful of times. I mean, we did a spoiler-free and spoiler review of both Force Awakens and Rogue One since this channel has existed. And we've talked extensively about Star Wars video games and movies in the past on various episodes of the podcast. Well, those of you that know that I am a pretty big fan of Star Wars. Now, I'm not going to pretend like I'm an expert in all things Star Wars, considering the lore. Like, I'm not an expert on Star Wars Legends, like the stuff that's no longer canon. I'm not really invested in the comics or the novels. I'm aware a lot of those things are great, but I'm mostly just a really hardcore fan of the films. So going into this movie, like I said, I was very excited for it. And the movie overall, I do like. I think it was a positive experience now that I've seen it twice. There's a lot of it that I like, but there's also an equal amount that I strongly dislike. And I never thought I'd say that about a Star Wars movie. I went into this with a certain mindset, which may have been a mistake because the first 20 minutes of the movie took me so off guard with the tone that I was completely lost for a bit. I was so confused for a second because... I knew that, I mean, I'm very aware that Star Wars movies are more or less lighthearted. I mean, there are some dark elements to them, especially in Revenge of the Sith and Empire Strikes Back. And this one I was convinced was going to be much darker. And even in the marketing, like actors and interviews and stuff, like, oh, it's a much darker film. It's darker. I did not get that feeling at all. I mean, there's some dark moments for sure, but nothing that ever felt as dark as Empire or Revenge of the Sith to me. So going into it, I was expecting it to be a little overly serious. Now, Rogue One, for example, has some comedic elements, but very light, very subtle. And that had a more serious tone, whereas this movie, I swear, like there were moments of slapstick comedy in here that were just flat out dumb to me. And there's some great comedic moments too that I think were awesome. Like, for example, again, I won't go into specifics, but General Hux's evolution as a character, because he almost seemed like too serious in Force Awakens. In this movie, they kind of threw a comedic element to him, and I think it works in the realm of Star Wars.
I gotta say, I kind of like Hux as a character.
Me too. He's grown on me a lot, especially seeing it a second time. At first, he's the one in the beginning of the movie that I was like, wait a second, what is this? And then as I got used to it and saw where they were going with it, I was like, okay, I'm cool with this now.
Threw me off too.
So, but first half of the movie, like I said, there are moments that I really, really enjoyed, which we can't talk about until the spoiler review comes out. But most of the first half of the movie I did not enjoy, which I found interesting. There's this girl on Facebook, who I won't mention by name, who I've never really agreed with on anything, especially when it comes to films and stuff, but she always is posting about all kinds of stuff that I just ignore. Well, she posted on Facebook the night before I saw the movie, like, oh, I was disappointed with the first half of the movie, but the end, they really tied it together. And I'm thinking, as the hardcore Star Wars fan, I'm like, there's no way. I mean, it's going to be hard for a Star Wars movie to genuinely disappoint me no matter what it is. And surprisingly, I totally agree with what she said. I mean, the first half was, I wouldn't call it completely boring, but there's some slow moments.
The opening set piece is actually really cool.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
That's one thing I can say is based on, in terms of Star Wars as a whole, I think this movie has some of the coolest
moments,
action sequences, where
a lot of memorable moments,
lightsaber stuff to just space battles and stuff.
That's the problem, though. Like, with all those great moments, it's also combated with all these.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I thought was so dumb. And again, we'll go into great detail on all of this stuff because there's a lot I have to say about this movie. But specifically, without spoiling it, there are literally 4 whole characters in this movie that I think are completely useless and pointless.
I think it's not spoiling anything because she's been running around with doing the previews or interviews or whatever.
Not so much even her.
Yeah, well, I could say
there's characters I dislike more than her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I'd like to know, because I can say Rose, that character, I did not like her in the slightest. I thought she added nothing, and her because she pretty much just runs around with Finn the entire movie, and I did not like their relationship. I didn't buy into their relationship with each other and stuff. I just thought it was pointless.
Right. Their whole, again, I don't want to spoil it for anyone. I'm just going to say their whole adventure, I guess you could call, in the movie is not only completely pointless to me, but just so silly. I just did not enjoy it at all. And there are moments of it that I thought were cool, but overall, I was like, this is a giant waste.
There's 3 stories pretty much going on, and every time it went to Finn and Rose's story, I was just like, okay, can we get back to the other stuff that's actually
It's a shame because
cool?
I think the strongest points are everything involving the Jedi and the dark side, which is a shame because you can clearly tell that in the first film, Rey is the main protagonist, and Kylo Ren is right there with her as one of the main protagonists. In this film, I felt like it was just all over the place. I didn't feel like there was a central protagonist anywhere because it was equal parts everywhere. I thought there was too much Finn and Rose. I thought we always broke away too much from Rey and her situation, and I just never felt fully connected to any one character like I did previously because they just felt so scattered, and the whole conflict in the movie just feels small to me. And I don't know. I mean, I'm so surprised to say that I'm thoroughly disappointed with the movie overall. But again, there are scenes that I adore in this movie. Specifically towards the end, there's still seeing it a second time, a scene that absolutely just rocked my world. I thought it was so awesome. So, ton of memorable moments that I thoroughly enjoyed, but equal parts stuff that I just thought was dumb.
Yeah, is there anything else that you guys liked about the movie so this isn't completely negative?
Right. That's the thing. I want people to leave this spoiler-free review knowing that I would give it a 6 out of 10 personally. That's still more positive than negative, but there's that much stuff I dislike about it. So
I really liked Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, I liked him too.
Say that. I thought what they did with his character and kind of how they explained some things between him and kind of just, I can say him and Kylo, right? Because we knew that they knew each other.
Yeah,
just kind of learning things about them in particular. I thought those are really cool
their
moments.
history.
Yeah, their history.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think Mark did a pretty good job.
I did too, especially considering he's rarely on screen these days, at least in films and TV shows. But I thought his version of Luke, really thinking back to Luke Skywalker as a character in the original trilogy, I thought was consistent with his character. Even after all these years, even after he's grown into this wise Jedi Master, he's still the same Luke personality-wise.
I enjoyed all the performances. I thought all the actors did a great job.
Totally. Even the character, with the exception of one, even the characters I didn't like, I thought their performances were fine. I just thought their characters were just pointless.
I just felt like the movie wasn't necessarily written how I would have liked it as a fan. I know that's kind of selfish to say, but
that's the thing. I am never ever opposed to doing something different with a franchise I love. I mean, you can Batman, Power Rangers, Star Wars, all these reboots that have occurred. You can totally take it in a crazy direction, but some of the direction they kind of swung in, and some of the stuff they went in this movie with certain characters I really, really like. That's the stuff I do enjoy. That were genuinely different from traditional Star Wars movies, but the negative stuff, man, just really kills me.
That's what kind of confuses me, not even just with this movie, but with other movies with obvious plot holes and stuff. They know they're there.
Yeah.
So I just don't get why they're there.
There are like a handful of plot holes that maybe they'll address in the third movie, but I feel like they almost should have been addressed in this movie.
There are things that just happen that are dumb and just shouldn't be happening without spoiling anything. That just I don't see how you can be, as smart as these minds are that are putting this movie together and not know that this probably should be different.
Didn't they not have to reshoot for some stuff?
They may have reshot a little bit, but surprisingly, this movie wrapped and was finished with post-production like 3 months before it came out. I mean, it was ready to go in October. It's been done for that long. So that means Disney signed off and was like, we love this. And they even said that. And marketing and stuff. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy especially were like, we are very happy with Rian Johnson's cut of Last Jedi, and that's why they granted him a brand new trilogy to launch, to write and direct the first film and kind of oversee the new trilogy, which really confuses me because it's the most bizarre thing, because typically, especially these days when it comes to reviews, like Rotten Tomatoes specifically, it's typically critics will be low but fans are super high, kind of like for most comic book movies these days, whereas this movie's flip-flop, where the critics are surprisingly overly positive and the fans, myself included, which I cannot believe I'm saying this, I'm like surprisingly negative on it. It's the strangest thing.
It just goes to show you that there's not really a connection between critics and fans.
That's the thing. It's like a lot of critics are fans as well.
But critics are typically the ones that are extremely nitpicky, because they're the critics. But I mean, I'm the guy that's like always throwing IGN under the bus. But I listened to that guy's review. He gave it a 9.7 out of 10.
I saw that.
And this isn't a 9.7 out of 10. There's so many things, just like we're talking about plot wise, that are just wrong, that just aren't brought up. Are these reviewers they just don't care about those things?
I mean, at the end of the day, it is a cohesive film. There's a very clear beginning, middle, and end, but that doesn't make it a good movie automatically. There's so much wasted potential, I think. So
I'm trying to be positive here. I'm thankful that they tried to take some risks.
Me too. Like at the end of the day, at least they took some
and
risks.
I think they succeed with some risks.
Absolutely. Totally.
And I think that I told you this a little while ago. I think that just because this is also a Star Wars movie, our expectations are obviously high, because I think this is a good movie. It's an entertaining film, but because it's not surpassing a lot of people's expectations, there's a lot of hyperbole. A lot of people are saying like Justice League was better than this movie, because it's I mean, if you like Star Wars, you're obviously already going to go see it, and I think that I think you should find things enjoyable about this movie. I feel like I said, I'm not a hardcore Star Wars fan, but I've seen a lot of hardcore Star Wars fans that are absolutely devastated, and they're not looking forward to anything else in the future.
Oh, from this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, I'm still...
I've seen a lot of that. I've seen a lot of that.
I'm still all in on Star Wars. Like, I will be ready to see Episode 9 the second it comes out.
Yeah.
But because I just love Star Wars that much, but it doesn't mean I'm not disappointed in this movie. I don't want people to mistake me either, because I'm never this negative about anything. I'm not like in a bad attitude. I'm not like grumpy or anything. I'm definitely disappointed, but I don't want people to think, oh, he's just in a bad attitude. He's sleepy. Like, that's why he's being negative. I mean, this movie really like upset me a little bit. Not to a point where I was like, Star Wars is ruined. I don't think that at all. I still think it's in great hands. And surprisingly, before I saw this movie, I was a little nervous about JJ coming back, because as much as I enjoy Force Awakens, everyone knows there's a rehash of A New Hope.
Yeah.
But going into Episode 9, I'm almost like thankful he's coming back, because after Rian Johnson, I was so confident Rian Johnson was going to make like the best Star Wars movie anyone's ever seen in their lives, and it just so is not that.
And I think JJ's heard the feedback too. There's like, we're not going to get Return of the Jedi.
No.
You know?
I'll give Rian Johnson this. He has written and directed some of the most memorable Star Wars movies and most bold Star Wars or not movies, scenes that I've seen in a Star Wars film.
What?
Coming out of this movie, there are scenes that will go down in history as like fantastic Star Wars scenes.
Yeah.
So I'll give him that totally. So awesome moments, a lot of dumb moments.
Yeah.
And one other thing I want to throw out there, I have I've noticed this in the years, especially with the rise of comic book movies. There are far too many. There's a way overuse of crappy green screen. I mean, it is so painfully obvious in certain scenes that it drives me insane that in 2017 we can't just go to a location and shoot it. I'm like, what so here's the top 3 worst green. Did Beauty and the Beast come out this year? Or was beginning this year, right?
Yeah.
Here's the top 3.
That was this year?
Yeah. Here's the top 3 worst green screen scenes I've seen all year. I won't spoil the scene specifically. One in Beauty and the Beast, it was like horrendous. One in Thor, easily the worst out of the 3. I mean, it was so bad that I thought it was like like on SNL or something. It was that bad. The rest of the movie looked good, but the one scene in Thor, I was like, that's embarrassing how
You think
bad it
a
looks.
scene from this movie was one of the worst of the year?
Oh yeah, dude. I was like, why? You'd think ILM, who they do most of these movies, visual effects, incredible. I mean, they're regarded as like the best of the best in the industry for visual effects. That you would think on Star Wars, their flagship franchise, they would spend the most time on. And I'm like, that looks bad. I was like, why would you do that? Now, a lot of the scenes were the scene I'm talking about. A lot of it does take place on a real location, but I guess this one area they had to shoot this stuff on, there was nothing like that in this location, so they had to green screen it. It just looks ugly, man, and it's going to go down in history looking that way.
They have to use green screen because it's a big Hollywood film.
Yeah, it's a big Hollywood film. That's what the big Hollywood guys do. So, I mean, that's a minor nitpick, but at the end of the day, I do like this movie, but I was also very disappointed in a lot of it.
I forgot to say the things that I liked. I really liked a lot of the new creatures as well.
Oh yeah, great.
I thought like the porgs. I thought they were adorable.
Yeah,
I know there's
definitely there to sell toys.
A lot of hate on the porgs, but I think they're adorable.
I want a little stuff.
I think they're pretty cute. Yeah.
And there's another creature that's on Mark Hamill's island, and I thought they were freaking hilarious too.
Yeah, I like them too.
They were so funny. So
I even liked the creatures in the scene that I don't want to spoil that I hated in the movie.
no, I did too.
I thought those were cute.
I actually thought that the ones on Mark's, some of the creatures actually looked puppeteered to me.
Yeah, a lot of the porg scenes were puppets.
Okay, yeah, they looked like it, and also the other things as well. They kind of looked.
They were practical.
Yeah, it's like there was a mixture, but you could tell which obviously you could tell which was which. But
totally,
I definitely am. I'm looking forward to J.J. Abrams' next one because he's really big into. Hopefully, he's just as big into the practical effects as he was in The Force Awakens.
Yeah, Force Awakens has a couple minor rough looking spots, but overall that movie looks very solid.
Yeah, so. But the thing is even The Force Awakens had some story issues. Yeah, so it's not like J.J. Abrams.
I don't think anything
is
as bad as what this was.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And again, some people may think we're totally wrong. That's totally okay. You can tell us that in the comments.
Yeah, express your opinion.
Yeah, we do strongly encourage you, though, please try to avoid spoilers in these comments. Because, again, in a couple of days, our spoiler discussion will be coming out, and we'll just go hog wild in those comments about all spoiler talk. But obviously, people who have not seen the film that even give a crap about our spoiler-free discussion, that's what this is here for.
If you're watching this, be aware that there could be spoilers in the comments. So
yeah, just in case. Yeah, scroll very slowly down.
Yeah, I read a spoiler on accident.
Before you saw it?
Yeah.
Oh, you have to tell me after this what it was.
No.
Was it a big one?
Yeah, it was a big one.
Oh, dang, man.
Yeah, but I'll just tell you later. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, a fun fact.
No. But something happens in the movie that I was thinking of that spoiler the entire time, and then I'm just not going to say anything else.
Okay.
It didn't affect the movie to me, though, knowing the spoiler because of something in the movie. So I'll just explain it later.
It's funny too. Characters that I loved in the first film I liked less in this movie, and then characters that I liked less in the first film I liked more in this movie.
Yeah, like I thought Finn sucked in this movie.
Yeah,
I did not like Finn at all.
Like honestly,
movie. And I liked him a lot in the first.
What is Finn's purpose at all anymore?
I thought Finn was awesome in The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Just him and Rey's relationship.
Yeah,
and he was. It's like they were just like, we have Finn, don't know what to do with him, so we're gonna add a new character.
At least Poe has a lot going on in this movie. Like you can tell he's moving into like a top position in the Resistance. But Finn, man, he's just kind of like, what do I do with myself?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll talk about it in spoilers though.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, I hope everyone who's listening to this enjoyed the movie, and if you didn't enjoy it, maybe you feel the same way we did. At the end of the day, I'm gonna like this because it's Star Wars. I do like,
and that's even not being even if it's Star Wars in it. I don't think you have to like it because it's Star Wars. I think there are just legitimately good things in this movie to like. There's a lot of good stuff in this movie.
Definitely
a lot of bad though too.
There's something I was gonna go off of on that. I totally forgot. I'm losing my mind. But yeah,
Want to wrap this up?
Yeah. Again, by all means, any spoiler-free thoughts you guys want to throw out there, please do so in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And look forward to our spoiler discussion coming in a few days. All things The Last Jedi.
I'm super excited for that conversation.
Yeah, here's what I was going to say to end. Going into it this morning, after I listened to like several spoiler reviews from some of my favorite reviewers, I actually was excited to see it again for the things that I do enjoy about it. So I didn't go into this morning being like, oh, I have to watch this again. I was actually excited to see it again. So overall positive for me, but we'll talk about the disappointments later.
Cool.
But yeah, thanks for joining us, and we hope you all have a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, wherever you might be in this world. We greatly appreciate it. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more. We'd love to hear from you in the comments.
Have a happy holiday.
Bye-bye, brother. See ya.